Now that Mikal Bridges is a New York Knick, we need to take a deep dive so we can truly unpack just what this means for the Eastern Conference and how he'll make this Knicks team so much better than they already were. Even though he struggled shooting this season with the Nets, Mikal Bridges is still one of the best two-way players in the NBA when he's in form. With Brooklyn, he was often the number one option on offense, but now being back on a team where he'll be more like the third or fourth option, he should return to his Phoenix Suns form. His defense is where he really impacts the game, as here he gets himself into the passing lane to come up with the steal, and then plays a game of catch with Devin Booker for an alley-oop finish. You can't be lazy around Mikal either, as here Rivers is too casual with this pass to Harden, and that's cookies for Bridges. Even against the best offenses in the world, Bridges can still make plays, as here the gravity of Curry leaves the Suns' backline vulnerable, but he's able to get a hand on the pass, saving what would have certainly been a dunk. He's also an elite on-ball defender, as here matched up against one of the best off-the-dribble scorers in NBA history, he not only holds his ground, but forces Damian Lillard to shoot an air ball. Here it's the same thing against CJ McCollum, absolutely smothering him to pick up an easy block. But sometimes though, defense isn't flashy, as here he just forces Tatum to take an uncomfortable shot, which ends up in a miss. But just a friendly reminder that defense can also be flashy. Here he comes up with a massive rejection on Pascal Siakam down the stretch of this game. Again, he's matched up against Dame, and with a great contest, he forces him to put up a tough shot. Forcing tough shots is how Mikal Bridges butters his bread, as here one-on-one with Brandon Ingram, he gives him nothing, resulting in a turnover. Bridges is also a great shot blocker for his size, here making a LeBron James chase down on LeBron. Then with the game on the line, Wagner looks to have him beat. However, Bridges is able to recover back and even comes up with the block. Mikal is also great with defensive rotations and knowing when to provide help, as here Bridges knows that Rondo is a non-shooter, allowing him to block Paul George from behind to seal Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Here, DeAndre Ayton gets mismatched with Evan Fournier, who beats him off the dribble. But because Mikal has fought hard for his inside position on Nikola Vucevic, he's able to swat the layup attempt away. Here, Cat sets a screen for Derrick Rose, but again, Mikal knows that Rose is not an effective three-point shooter, so he goes under the screen and catches back up to him to block the layup. He's even a good post defender, as here he moves his feet and absorbs the contact to come up with the rejection. Mikal is best utilized to guard other wings, but he's also able to guard smaller players, as here, even though Blake Griffin sets a solid screen, Bridges is still able to get back into the picture for a chase down block. Now with James Harden as his matchup, he forces him to his knees and makes James pass the basketball. Then again it's James Harden, and he's able to get a great contest on the step back, forcing a miss. Now with a 7-footer as his matchup in Kevin Durant, he gives up nothing, forcing KD into an incredibly tough fall-away jumper, which he nearly hits. Here Cade Cunningham tries a behind-the-back dribble to beat Bridges, but Mikal just reads it and sees it coming. In the games last season where the Knicks were fully healthy with OG, they had the best offensive rating in the NBA, holding their opponents to only 100 points per night. With the news breaking earlier today that the Knicks have retained OG Anunoby, having him and Bridges to combat Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum is going to make a Celtics-Knicks series incredibly interesting, but more on that later. With Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle taking on the brunt of the scoring, Bridges just needs to be reliable in catch-and-shoot scenarios. Over his 5 seasons with the Phoenix Suns, he was able to be a reliable floor spacer, shooting 38% from deep. With Jalen Brunson being a mid-range shot creator, this will open up his catch-and-shoot opportunities even more, as when teams send help to Brunson, they'll likely be leaving him open. So if Mikal Bridges can make around 36 to 40% of his threes, while playing suffocating defense every night, he will make this Knicks team just that much better. With a lighter workload on offense, Bridges will be a handy player to have on both sides of the ball, that's for sure. On offense, Bridges is great off ball, as here Dinwiddie creates enough separation, and because Kleber's in a drop, that's an open triple. With his time being a first option, look for Mikal to make plays like this for the Knicks, pulling this tough three to beat the buzzer. Bridges has a tight handle and now can create his own shot, as here he lays up the ball only off of one step. Here with Zach LaVine playing hounding defense, he uses his momentum against him, blowing by for an open dunk. Mikal is great at attacking mismatches also, as here with Lopez switched on, he beats Brook to his spot and knocks down the fall-away jumper, and only moments later he does it again, this time to Bobby Portis. His ability to punish opposing defenses when they put mismatches on him will limit how teams can guard Brunson and Randle, as you're also going to need somebody to account for Mikal. Bridges can also knock down his triples on the move, getting space from George to knock it down. Here again, Bridges pops open, and thanks to a smart behind-the-back pass from O'Neal, that's 3 more. Here in isolation, Mikal Bridges steps back for 3 and knocks it down. Not only are the Knicks getting one of the best defenders in the league, but they're also getting a talented scorer, who will be capable to take the load off of Brunson and Randle. Of course, in the big moments, I fully expect Jalen Brunson to be the one to make the shots. But if needed, Mikal can be at least a viable option also. When looking into the deal, many believe that the Knicks were robbed, having to hand over 5 first-round picks for Bridges. But with the players they already have on the roster, and the previous connections through his time with Brunson, Hart, and DiVincenzo with Villanova, this is a price worth paying. Just look at Stephen A's reaction to the trade.
Yes! Now, I know that y'all are sitting out there and y'all saying it's Mikal Bridges. He's a good player, but it ain't like you got KD or somebody. Bump all that, okay? Chemistry matters. Reliability matters. Consistency matters. Defense matters. The brother can shoot. The brother can play. I'm sorry. I like this move by the New York Knicks.
Also, to be able to get this deal done without having to part with Julius Randle is huge, and definitely worth giving up 5 first-round picks for. As if you can remember just how good the Knicks were looking in January when they were fully healthy, I believe New York have just significantly trimmed the gap between them and the Celtics in the Eastern Conference. With the return of OG Anunoby, the Knicks will arguably have the 2 best wing defenders in the NBA to guard Tatum and Brown. However, there is one bad side effect to making this deal, as it's now going to be extremely difficult to retain Isaiah Hartenstein. Now, don't get me wrong, it is still possible that they could bring him back if they're able to offload Mitchell Robinson's contract, but they would likely be getting pennies on the dollar for Robinson. Personally, if I'm the Knicks front office, I do everything I can to make sure Hartenstein comes back. Now, as it currently stands in the Eastern Conference, the Knicks and the Celtics are the clear 2 best teams now, with depth and defensive versatility at every position. However, the Bucks, Sixers, Pacers, and even the Miami Heat are yet to make their moves, but for me, if any team can join New York and Boston, it will be the Milwaukee Bucks. With teams around the league having strong interest in Brook Lopez, if the Bucks can upgrade their defense around Giannis and Damian Lillard, they could definitely enter the realm of the Knicks and the Celtics. But for now, Boston and New York will dominate the Eastern Conference next season. Who do you think won this trade, and what chance do you give the Knicks of winning a title in the 2025 NBA season? Let me know in the comments below.